Oh my gosh, guys, what's up? It's Cass, and I didn't plan anything for today. Why am I wearing my sleeves? I look so weird with it. Oh my gosh, okay. Anyway, yeah, I didn't plan anything for today, but I did just spend an hour trying to figure out how to rent The Maze Runner, only to figure out that it costs like $50 to rent it, but it also costs $50 to buy it, so I really don't want to go through that crap. Yeah, so the reason that I wanted to rent Maze Runner is so embarrassing, the fact that I never actually watched it, because, what happened is when it came out, I didn't know who was in it, and I didn't really care, even though I'm all about like new action movies or awesome movies. And so I'd heard that The Maze Runner was a thing over Tumblr, because Tumblr rocks and is also a very big vortex that you can never get out of. It's the labyrinth. And I was just like, okay, cool, Maze Runner, it's a book turned into a movie, kind of like the Percy Jackson series in Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings is the best thing on the planet, and if you have not watched it, you need to go and watch it, or I will eat you in your sleep. So basically, I was like, I didn't care, and so my dad was like, hey, I rented The Maze Runner, like, I think from last year. And so, my brother was like, yeah, cool, I'm gonna watch it without her. And so he said, hey, we're in The Maze Runner. I didn't really hear him, and so all I heard was, hey, and I was just like, okay. And so, my brother watched The Maze Runner without me, and he should have told me, hey, Dad rented a movie. Why don't we watch it? No. And so he watched the movie, didn't tell me, and then a few days later, Dad was like, did you like the movie I rented? And I was like, what movie? And Dad was like, he rented The Maze Runner. And I was like, you idiot. I actually threw the top of a pencil at the wall. Oh, good times. And I didn't know, and I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, cool, don't really care. No one is in The Maze Runner that I like, Dylan O'Brien. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, okay, who is hot is gonna be in this movie? Dylan O'Brien. And I didn't look it up, Dylan O'Brien, and I was thinking, okay, it's not that good of a movie. I don't know one of the actors in it, Dylan O'Brien. And so finally my best friend was like, hey, have you seen The Maze Runner? And I was like, no, I haven't seen The Maze Runner. Cool, what's it about other than a maze runner, Dylan O'Brien? And she goes, well, it stars Dylan O'Brien. And I went, really? It was so stupid. I was so mad at myself. I was sitting there going, okay, so I didn't watch a movie with one of the awesomest actors because I didn't care. So that's why now every movie that comes out, I'm like, who's in it? And even if I see the name Chris, I'm like, Hemsworth, Pines, Pratt, or something like that. And so, also Evans. And so me and my dad just spent like an hour trying to find The Maze Runner to rent. Couldn't find it on Redbox, couldn't find it on Amazon, couldn't find it on Google. And so, yeah, it was terrible. And I kind of sat there and started going, I'm not going to get to watch Dylan O'Brien be a freaking awesome dude on the screen. And so we eventually gave up on it, and I am going to go and buy it later on. Yeah, people are texting me. I'm so popular that I have one person texting me, and I still didn't answer them. And lovely on my wall. And so that was a mishap. I'm trying to think of any other movie mishaps that I had. But I will tell you about my movie obsession for the fact that my favorite movie is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King. Yeah, it's one movie, okay? Because it tells one storyline. And it's my favorite movies. And so it was a scream for me when The Hobbit came out, because my dad was like, hey, guess what's coming out? And I was just kind of chilling. I was like, I don't know what's coming out. He goes, they're making a movie for The Hobbit. And I was just like, what? And I got so excited, and the Hobbit movies were awesome. I will admit they were not as good as the regular original Lord of the Rings, but they were still pretty good. And so what's kind of sad is that I am very so much obsessed that I actually speak a bit of Tolkien Elvish. You can call me a nerd. I don't care. Okay, I'll be a nerd over here with my nerd friends, which I don't have, and you can be over there with all your popular friends while I'm sitting over here talking to myself in Elvish, and you can't understand what I'm saying. Bam! And people are gonna ask me to speak it. Like, I always open up with, I love Lord of the Rings, or I can speak Elfish, and they're like, speak something, and I'm put on the spot, and I'm like, I can't do it now that you've told me to. Like, what is this? And so, by the way, if you do say, hey, tell me about yourself, I can guarantee you 100% it's going to be, I love Lord of the Rings. Like, doesn't every fangirl open up with that line? Tell me about yourself. Dylan O'Brien is my spirit animal. I mentioned Dylan O'Brien at least 12 times in this video. And just to be safe, Dylan O'Brien. I'm actually very, very proud of myself that I could say that so many times. I'm very hyper. I had like 9 cups of coffee in the past hour. Because who doesn't want to drink coffee when it's 90 degrees outside while I was wearing a sweater? Because, you know, swag. I don't say that a lot, but and so, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, seriously though, that's my obsession, is like Lord of the Rings. Like, you don't know how much I love that movie. Even my parents, like, I was talking to my friend one time, and she's not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. Like, she's watched them in The Hobbit, but she's not like the intense super fan that I am. So like, how most people are like know everything about like Harry Styles or some member of some big band or something like that. I know everything about Lord of the Rings and Legolas except his mom's name, because he was never mentioned in the books or the movies. So back up and let the Lord of the Rings expert take her trophy and leave. I'm wondering if I actually got out of the shot there, if you just saw like this part of my arm. That would be kind of sad. But anyway, so that's actually very sad that I'm actually looking at my Lord of the Rings book that's that big, because I got all the books in one except for The Hobbit, because that was sold separately. I'm talking a lot about Lord of the Rings, and I should be talking about the new Star Wars hype that's coming up with the new Star Wars movie. It's The Force Awakens, I'm pretty sure. I love Star Wars. I've seen all the movies at least 3 times. With Lord of the Rings, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen them. But I love Star Wars. I really, really do. And I can't wait for it to come out. I know it's going to be directed by J.J. Abrams. I'm really hoping it's going well since Disney bought it. But we'll see how this goes. I love Disney, don't get me wrong, but just Disney, I'm sorry, but something about Disney producing Star Wars it's not appealing in my mind, but when they threw J.J. Abrams into the mix, seeing as he's a huge Star Wars fan, that kind of comforted me in a bit, along with the fact that they're throwing in the original characters. So that's going to be really, really fun to watch. And I'm actually going to cosplay and dress up as the new, what is it, Kylo Gen, something like that. Me and my mom and my brother are all going to cosplay and go to the midnight showing of The Force Awakens, the first midnight showing. So that's going to be so fun. We're going to dress up, and I can guarantee I'm not going to be the only person dressing up. So, yeah, thank you for listening to my nerd rant. I'm trying to think of any other movies that I want to nerd rant about. Nope, can't think of any. Thank you all so much for watching. If you could just leave a like down below and comment what you liked about this fabulous stool I have. That would be very much appreciated. Make sure you subscribe and tell me what you want me to either rant about next, do a challenge next, or anything you want to see me do next. Bye!